Well, there's definitely a lot to think about and talk about when it comes to diabetes complications. So diabetes, high blood sugars, can affect many different organs and lead to complications. For example, the eyes, the heart, the kidneys, and even the nerves in the feet can be affected by high blood sugars. And the really difficult thing is diabetes can be very sneaky. You may feel perfectly fine and feel well, but if your blood sugars are high, it can cause damage in the background.
I developed type 2 diabetes about 35 years ago, and I guess the problems really didn't start for maybe 12, 15 years. And my first issue was a cardiac arrest.
I was first diagnosed in 1985, and back then they gave you a course on how to eat properly as a diabetic, how to cook. They would give you metformin and glyburide and send you away and say exercise. So I really did none of the above. I didn't watch what I ate. I didn't exercise properly, and. But the nasty thing is diabetes is such a silent disease that I didn't take it seriously, and it got me. And that's why I am where I am today. The complications I have right now are my eyes. I'm actually legally blind now, and that's because of diabetes. My kidneys, I'm on dialysis. Dialysis definitely changes your life. It totally changes. You're just so dependent on that machine. I do home dialysis, and I do it 7 nights a week. And so every night I'm hooking up to a machine. It runs all night. Sometimes there's alarms that go that wake you up, and you have to deal with it. And it has limited our ability to travel. We still can travel, but it's much harder.
Some of the problems that I've had because of the diabetes and not being aware what the diabetes was going to do to me eventually, we planned a lot of things before we were retiring. The places we were going to see, the world we were going to travel. I have 4 children and 11 grandchildren. I don't see as much of them as I thought I was going to see once retirement came in. It just left me with a lot of issues, a lot of doubts. And the big question is, why me? And I just found that it was hard to live with. And each time I thought I was getting to the point where, okay, this is the limit, we've got it, something else came up.
I had a lot of pain in my feet and legs early on, and then that just turned to numbness. But having numb feet and legs really affects your mobility. So I was having a lot of falls because my feet weren't sensing any change in gradation, or I could maybe step on a larger stone. All those things would make me fall.
I have a balance issue, and the balance issue is because of the neuropathy that has got into my feet. I don't have it anywhere else that I'm aware of. But what happens is if I just lean forward, I'm tempted to fall forward. The toes do not support the body. And so that takes away from the exercise program that you're supposed to be doing, because you're not capable of lifting and moving around when your feet won't anchor you to the ground. My balance now is such that I'm concerned that if I get on a plane and we get into a different atmosphere, I'm going to fall on the floor. Something's going to happen. We had planned to do many things with the children and the grandchildren once we get into a retirement stage. Bring them out. When I don't feel good as a result of the issues I have, it isn't fair to them.
I got neuropathy in my hands, and that really was like my hands were on fire 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was a chronic pain. The worst thing I've ever endured, because it lasted for me well over 1.5 years that I had to live with that pain. It's still there sometimes, but working with the pain management clinic at St. Joe's, they have found a solution that helps alleviate it to a degree. And I never would have thought at 68 that I would be shuffling around on a walker and hooking up to a machine every night so that I could live.
Even though I don't have diabetes, it really has affected our family. Of course, we've had to, more so recently now, we ended up moving out of our home that we'd been in for 25 years just because of Bob's mobility problems and his eyesight problems. And so we've moved into an apartment with one floor. As far as other issues, I have to help Bob with his dialysis every night. I have to help him pretty well with a lot of his physical needs as far as when he's getting dressed and showering, and just to be a support for him. I find now my day's pretty much taken up with care of Bob, and we're just not as free to go and do things.
So what I would say to someone or myself, if I was back when I was diagnosed, or someone that's just being diagnosed, take it seriously. Don't, because it's such a silent thing, you tend not to take it seriously because you feel fine. Most of the time you feel fine. And you don't realize the damage that's going on in your system with those high blood sugars. And I would say learn about how diabetes works, learn about your blood sugars, learn about what food does to your blood sugars, learn about your A1C and what that is telling you. There's so much information out there today. Get a good clinic to go to with good endocrinologists or doctors, because they are your support. They are really your lifeline to advancements in diabetes care and also dealing with any issues that you have.
If I wanted to look back to when I was first advised that I was a diabetic, I would have done a great deal more. I would have each year been looking at the new programs or new thoughts or new ideas coming out from various groups as to what's important.
So know what your diabetes is doing. Is it under control? Are your blood sugars good? Then the next step is empowerment, and I think it starts with self-management. So you may set specific goals that are 6 days from now, 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, but make sure to set specific goals. Those goals may be self-management in the terms of lifestyle, so finding the right foods that work with your blood sugars, exercising. Perhaps it's the goal of learning more about your disease and getting the right education. It may also be the goal of making sure you attend your appointments and you're asking questions to your healthcare providers. You know, those healthcare providers really should be there to support you and provide you with the tools to achieve your goals. So after all of that hard work, ideally, all of that hard work should hopefully allow you to never have a single complication.